This week at Police College, the recruits hit the firing range, where they must learn when and when not to use ultimate force.
Move away!
Some are affected by the pressure.
Personal instructors are, they don't take any crap.
And others face a moral dilemma.
I pray that I don't ever have to point a weapon at someone with an intent to use it.
But everyone must deal with nerves.
Did you get the part where I was standing there like this and I was like...
Having made it through the first month, the recruits of Wing 223 must now undergo one of the most demanding aspects of police training: firearms. And while this area of policing may evoke the imagery of action heroes, in truth most cadets dread this part of their training, as it's a reminder they could actually be killed in the line of duty. Since the New Zealand Police was formed over a century ago, 26 officers have been killed while wearing the uniform. This is day one.
Hey team, my name's Sergeant Paddy Hannon. I'm the officer in charge of the firearms training section here at the Police College. While armed incidents in New Zealand are by no means a regular or normal occurrence, you may need to use a firearm to protect yourself or to protect members of the public. Statistically, firearms incidents occur within 7 metres and are over in 4 seconds. So they're very short, very sharp and potentially lethal.
Although he's only just sat down, already Hamish McDonald has a conflict. Like all recruits, he must be able to use a firearm, but fundamentally he hates guns.
I can't feel that I'd ever be comfortable with taking a weapon to an incident and pointing it at someone. I feel that would be overkill, excessive use of force.
A father of 2, Hamish even stops his kids from playing with toy guns.
The kid's grandmother made the mistake of buying a toy gun for the kids one day, and I just had to grab it and remove it and think, oh, where'd that gun go, Daddy? Oh, it's been broken. It went in the bin. Sorry.
But not everyone feels as strongly as Hamish. Former hairdresser Karen Thompson is determined to do well here. Her goal, to join the ranks of the elite armed offenders squad.
I've seen the training that the AOS guys do down here at college and it's insane. Those guys are the fittest of the fit. They're all sharpshooters, so something that I wouldn't mind aiming for.
Having struggled with some of the more academic requirements of Police College, Karen can't wait to get started.
You know exactly what you're supposed to do.
The next 2 weeks of training will take place at a purpose-built facility separate to the main college. Here, each recruit will be expected to master a semi-automatic handgun and a rifle. But more importantly, they'll be expected to gain insight of when and when not to use ultimate force. Though before they're asked to fire the first bullet, they must feel comfortable about handling a gun, and for some even that is causing apprehension.
You've got to be able to get the weapon out of the holster cleanly and efficiently to deal with any potential threat that you may face. However, there is an art to getting it out of the holster, and it's that art that we're going to try and impart on you today. Grip, clear, lock. That point there, all I've done is I've rotated it to where my threat would be, meaning that should I need to shoot from this position, I can.
Unlike any of their training so far, the consequences of making a careless mistake around live ammunition could be fatal. A fact that's putting most of the recruits on edge, even those who are looking forward to pulling the trigger.
We experienced some interesting reactions, to say the least, from minor sweating to nervousness, inability to hold the weapon properly because of the nervousness.
And despite wanting to join the armed offenders, Karen is a prime example.
It's the very first time I've ever picked up a gun and used it, apart from the sideshow. Apart from that, no. What are you trying to say?
Is it going to be the last?
They said that everyone that goes like this is nervous, so I was doing that a fair bit.
But no matter how hard she tries, Karen just can't keep her hands steady.
I think I got to my assessment and I was shaking so much I tend to forget where everything was.
And when it comes to firing her first shot, Karen's even having problems just trying to lock and load. With that drama resolved, she takes aim, but fails to hit the target. Though she's not the only one suffering from first-time nerves. The Wing's resident pacifist is also showing all the classic symptoms.
First day we got on the range, with the Glock, sweaty hands. Never sweat so much in my life. You've got this thing that quite literally, pointed in the wrong direction, is going to create a huge amount of havoc.
Regardless of the sweaty hands and his dislike of guns, Hamish needs to put his feelings aside, as Police College demands all-round skills. To everyone's surprise, Hamish is a natural marksman. It seems handling a gun isn't quite what he expected.
Felt very comfortable after those days on the range with the Glock. But yeah, every shot that I squeezed off, quite happy, through the target. Hit where it was supposed to hit anyway.
While the perfect score eludes Karen, in the end her high consistency marks her out.
First day, my feelings up at the firearms range were a little bit nervous about how to handle a weapon. It worked out okay, so yeah, it's quite scary.
Over the next couple of days, the recruits become more confident at handling firearms, though at the same time the instructors are upping the ante.
This particular drill we're going to teach you now is called firearm movement. Imagine if you've got yourself in a position where you're quite close to an offender and that threat is that significant that firstly you need to create some space and at the same time get your weapon out of the holster with a good effective draw and then present it and incapacitate. So you'd be standing somewhere like this, the threat's there, you'd start moving, at the same time you'd draw, present the weapon, and as you move rearward from the target you would start making your shots.
Having done so well in the last assessment, Karen's keen to master fire and movement, otherwise known as the reactive. She's been partnered with Hamish, and it's his job to guide her safely backwards while she opens fire on the offender. Once again, she shoots, she scores, and this time achieves full marks.
It was scary. I kind of didn't know what to expect if my gun was going to go everywhere out of nerves, because I did get quite nervous doing the assessments, as most good people do. But, it was fine. Got 100% in that as well.
Next, it's Hamish's turn, who over the course of just 3 days has gone from reluctant marksman to something of an action hero.
You're thinking through all the movies you've ever seen, all the times anyone's ever been shot on TV that you might have witnessed, anything like that. You're just filled with a rush of different images and, different emotions for me.
Again, Hamish passes with flying colours. But despite his natural ability, his views remain the same. Guns are a necessary evil, and he would never have one in his own home.
With my kids, I've never allowed weapons in the house. I would hate, and I've heard stories and seen it on the news, the little kid goes in with their friend that's come over to play, picks up daddy's handgun and just points it. Now, poor fool that father for having ammunition loaded in the gun in the first place.
Though Hamish will soon have to resolve his conflict as the recruits prepare for the pressure of dealing with an armed offender.
You're fucking taking too long. Give me a car, let's get it.